And the vision you have as far as expansion of your business, do you think it'll take you to Japan?
I sure hope so. I think there's a market there, and I think that everything I can tell, they have these problems. We're a partner with Salesforce.com. In fact, Salesforce.com is an investor in the company. They've had tremendous success over there, and so all those companies that have bought Salesforce.com, as an example, in Japan, have salespeople that are being motivated through some type of compensation, and therefore are great candidates for Xactly, since we work within the boundaries of Salesforce.com as well as other applications. So I absolutely think there's a great market for us there, and it's just an expansion. It's just a matter of time.
The business sectors of Japan, Osaka, Tokyo, were not affected by the natural disaster of the earthquake and tsunami. But would you think that your company, Xactly Corporation, could help in some capacity by coming into the Japanese market so that the rest of the country that wasn't affected by the natural disaster could help the people in the northern region?
I don't know. I think it's a great question. I think that, I'd like to think we could help, but, we need to understand, the ways that it would make sense for us to help. I mean, if our product could in any way, help. In fact, we have, through our foundation that I talked about, we provide our product effectively for free to nonprofits and to help folks. And so if there's any of those out there that could use our services or our software to help to drive behavior, then we would love to do that.
I see. That's really interesting that you have a unique blend, of entrepreneurship and philanthropy.
I think you have to. I mean, I think to be an entrepreneur and only think about the dollar or the economic, and absent of the philanthropic and the rest of the community, I just think is irresponsible. I mean, I think that you have to be part of the community that you play in. And today, as I mentioned, we're very, very tight with the communities that we play in. We'd love to expand that community and start to use our foundation, for example, to help with the natural disaster that happened there. And I think we have some ideas and plans to do some programs that would help. But we're still fairly small, and we're not there yet.
I see. And since you're a successful entrepreneur, do you in any way do mentorship or help new entrepreneurs by introducing them to angel investors or VCs?
Yeah, I do. I do that a lot. And this is part of what I said earlier about working in particular with the entrepreneur program in the Marshall School down at SC is. I go down and had occasion to speak to the underclassmen. I've had occasion to speak to the alumni group. And invariably, when I get done sort of telling my story and talking about it, which I love to do, there's a bunch of folks that want to talk about what they're doing. And it's just so exciting to hear the different stories and hear these interesting companies that these folks are building. And I'm always offering out, my network or any help that I can provide. And like I say, it's a two-way street. I'm learning from them as well as they're hopefully learning something from me or taking advantage of, something that we can do to help out.
What would be the genesis for your expansion, let's say, into Asia and, as we talked about, Japan? What is needed for that to happen?
Well, I think that, for a smaller company as we are, it's a question of resources and kind of getting that beachhead. If we could get a couple lighthouse accounts, then you kind of build on that. Very similar to, how many companies, probably get there. You land and expand, right? I mean, you have to get a few that will stand up and, wave the flag and say, hey, this is a great product, and other companies here in Japan should use it. We need that to start happening. It's difficult for a company like ours to just go invest and put, 10 people there and have a year investment before we can begin to have it pay for itself. So, but we can do that too. I mean, so these are all things we have to just look at and in the right time and way, make sure that we manage it correctly financially. But we know there's a market there, and we know there's a need, and we know we have a solution. So that's why I keep saying I think it's just a matter of time.
Do you see that Japan, Korea, and China are something that are within your vision, your scope?
Absolutely, yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
And your collaboration, as you mentioned earlier about Salesforce, do you think they would assist you in entering that market?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Salesforce is one of our biggest and best partners. I mean, we go to market also with Oracle, but Salesforce in particular has been very good. Part of the thing is their customers need this, and so when their reps are asked, who do you use for compensation, or how do you handle compensation, because their reps, all the reps at Salesforce are paid through Xactly, we find that Xactly is on the tip of their tongue, and so we find that we get a lot of introductions that way. And so as those companies in Japan ask Salesforce reps, our hope is to educate the Salesforce teams that, hey, there's a solution out there called Xactly, and again, most of them are because they're getting paid through it. And so it's just a matter of time, and we would absolutely try to leverage that channel, if you will, to expand.
I see. And in closing, could you tell us a little bit about the products you have?
Sure. So our primary product is called Xactly Incent. That is the flagship product that will do all the heavy lifting of calculating compensation and paying it. On top of that, we have a whole bunch of modules like modeling and analytics and document management, so that once companies can figure out who to pay and how to pay, the next step is to be able to kind of do what-if scenarios and maybe say, well, how can we tweak this comp plan? How can we change this comp plan to maybe affect behavior, right? Going back to the very first question you asked me, how can we change these reps' behavior by changing the comp plan? Well, part of that is you got to be able to analyze, hey, are the dollars that we're spending working? What parts of this incentive that we have in place are driving the right behaviors, and which ones aren't working, so we can do more of what is working and do less of what isn't working. And so we have modules, like I said, analytics and modeling to do that and to help with that. And then on the for companies that have everything I just described is for companies that have about 100 sales reps or greater, up to 5,000 or 10,000. For all those companies, then tens of thousands of them that have less than 100 reps, we do all those same things through a Force.com, through the Salesforce platform, Force.com, built product called Express, Xactly Express. And what's great about that product is for a smaller company that might only have 5 or 10 or 15 reps, they can literally get online, see a demo, swipe a credit card, and within a couple hours be live paying their sales teams with these incentives. So we kind of cover the gamut with these different products, whether you have 2 sales reps or 5,000, anything in between, any size company, anywhere.
And lastly, what was the genesis behind you forming Xactly Corporation?
Well, the genesis was I've been in the space selling products to some of the world's biggest companies in the old way, the old-fashioned sell a CD of software, charge $1 million, make them buy a bunch of hardware, make them spend a lot of money to install it, take a year long. I mean, that was the way we all did it back then. Remember Siebel and all those kinds of applications. That's how software was sold, right? The problem with that is you can't reach those companies that are in the mid-market. You certainly can't reach somebody that's down at has 5 reps. It's just too expensive. These products were too expensive, too heavy. And so with the advent of the cloud, with the advent of being able to do software as a service in the cloud, multi-tenant, where it was one to many, that was the sea change in technology that occurred that caused me to say, hey, I need to go after this and take advantage of this technology so that I can put our software, our service, in the hands of every company, not just the biggest companies that could afford it. Any company can afford it now. And so that was the genesis. That was what caused us to say, hey, let's go make this company.
And did you have a sound business plan, or did you do this just driven, and passionate?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, my co-founder, Satish Palve, and myself had both been in this space, and so he's the brains behind the technology, and I'm kind of the sales and marketing side. So the two of us was a great, mix. And I think that, and so we had a business plan, but we more than anything had a passion, and our passion is to help companies incent right so that they can sell more. And so that passion is what's driven us, not the business plan. The business plan has changed based on what we've learned as we've gone through this. But the passion has stayed the same, and I think that's what makes us unique.
Could that be your second favorite word?
Yes. I think so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Carl. Appreciate it.